Um, the thing with bonds is you already know how to do it. Can you guys calculate the present value of a lump sum that you're going to receive sometime in the future? Yeah. Can you guys calculate the present value of an ordinary annuity? Yeah. Can you add together the present value of the sum and the present value of the annuity and find out what the present value of both together is? Of course, right? Which is what the present value of the bond is. So you can value these bonds, no problem. Okay? What is a bond anyway? Companies want to borrow money. And they're not borrowing from a bank. They're not borrowing from somebody they even know necessarily. They're going to borrow out in the market. So there's a bond market just like there's a stock market. And what you do is you issue bonds. Corporations issue bonds. Other corporations or individuals buy them, right? And what you do is you print up this bond, this piece of paper, okay? So imagine, and in real life you don't get the piece of paper anymore. It's all electronic. But the piece of paper still exists somewhere. And if you want it, they'll send it to you, right? But it's kind of silly to do that because if you get the piece of paper and you sell the bond to somebody else, you have to send them the piece of paper, right? So what we do is we have transfer agents hold the bond, right? Stock register or bond registrar would hold the bond. Trustees, they'd keep the bonds. And then the ownership just transfers electronically from person to person. But still it's bond, it still exists. So you can think about this as being a piece of paper, and we would call this the face of the bond, the picture of the bond. So the company name would be at the top, whoever's borrowing the money. Whoa, what's that? Oh, I didn't turn the projector on. I thought I didn't do the recording. I've got recording and no projector. Sorry, guys. I can see mine. What's wrong with you people? Okay, here we go. There. Okay. Anyway, so we got this piece of paper, right? Company name at the top, probably, and you'd have pretty print on it and all that. So it looks like a stock certificate, kind of. Only it's a bond. And what we'll do is we'll say how much the bond is for. So let's make this be a $200,000 bond. Just pick a number out of the air. Could be 200 million, right? Whatever. Okay. So it could be billions for that matter. Okay. So 200 million. That's the face amount of the bond. We call that the face amount. Okay. That's not how much you're borrowing if you issue the bond. It's not how much your investment is if you're buying the bond, unless the stated interest rate on this bond is the same as the market rate. And the odds of that happening are pretty slim. Okay? Because what you do is you print these bonds up in advance of issuing them, of selling them. And then when you issue them, the market will decide how much your bond is worth based on how risky they think you are. Right? Based on what the effective market rate interest rate is. Effective market interest rate. Effective or yield or real, if you'd say. Okay, the market rate. Okay? What's that market rate of interest based on? We talked about this before. Interest rates are based on what? Something for rent of the money, true return, 2 to 3%. Something for expected inflation, whatever it is at a particular time. Right now, real low, 1% maybe, because we haven't had much inflation recently, right? So maybe 2 plus 1 is 3. The risk-free rate right now, 30-year Treasury bond is only 2.6, 2.7%, right? Very low expected inflation, huh? Probably nothing, okay? And then what do you add to that to find out what their interest rate is going to be for each individual person, each individual company? Risk premium. Risk, right? So the market is going to decide how much expected inflation there is, and the market is going to decide how risky you are. And over time, can expected inflation change? Yes. Can risk level change? The perceived risk of your company? Could it change over time? If you're real profitable over time, risk less risky. If you're less profitable, more risky. So your interest rate can be changing, which means the present value of the bonds changes all the time. If inflation fires up, there's more inflation, bonds are worth less. If inflation slows down, there's less inflation, bonds are worth more. Wow. So when you invest in bonds in the bond market, everybody says bonds are less risky. They are than stock. Why are bonds less risky? Who gets paid first? Bondholders, debt holders, or stockholders? Bondholders, they get paid first. So it's less risky. So what would you expect, risk-return trade-off? If there's less risk, what will happen to your return? Less return. Lower interest rate. You justify a lower interest rate, right, on bonds. So bonds are less risky, but does that mean there's no risk? Of course not. What if the company goes bankrupt? You don't get your money, right? You don't get the interest and you don't get the principal. Okay? But you get paid before the stockholders do, so you're still less risky than they are. Make sense? Okay? And also, inflation can fire up or slow down, the company can become more or less risky, and so the bond, you could buy bonds that could go down in value. I did that when I started my PhD program. I sold a house, and I don't know, I had $30,000 or something, and I invested in the bond market because I thought, well, that'll be less risky than going into the stock market. I wish I'd already known what I know now, right, after my PhD program, which I try to teach you guys, right? I wish I'd have really understood it. Because I invested in the bond market went way down, inflation fired up, the bonds went down in value, and when I was done with my PhD and I was going to take the money out, I had my money back. Finally grew back to what I had invested. I earned absolutely nothing in 5 or 6 years in the bond market. And you could lose money there too, right? I lost a lot of money right away, almost immediately. Okay? Can you do that in the stock market too? Of course you can. You can invest. My son was just miserable when the stock market went down to 50%. He just made a whole bunch of investments that hadn't grown very much because he's early in his career, and he lost half his wealth. It's like, this is crazy. I'm not investing in the stock market anymore. And then I showed him my portfolio. What happened to mine? I have dollars that are worth 10 times as much as I invested, right? From when I was 30 years old. Right? 10 times. So, mine's fine. His was horrible. But you know what really happened now, though? Is his is worth 3 times what it was when it went down. So he's still got a 50% profit over, I don't know, 10 years or something, which isn't very good, by the way. Anyway. All right. So that's the face. Also on the face of it, it'll have a stated interest rate. So this is going to be the stated rate, okay? Let's say the stated rate is 7%. What does that mean? It's going to pay 7% a year interest, huh? That's it. What's 7% of 200,000? The face amount. 14,000 a year. Okay? And then it's going to pay off 200,000 at the end, right? The other thing we'll have is it'll either be annual or semi-annual. Most of them are semi-annual, or maybe quarterly interest payments. So let's say it's semi-annual. If it's semi-annual, how many interest payments will there be? 2 per year, right? That's it. I guess we have to know how many years it's going to be, huh? So let's make it a 10-year bond. It's going to be due in 10 years. What's due in 10 years? 200,000, right? The face amount. But how many payments are there going to be of interest over the 10 years? 10 years semi-annual is 20 payments. Got it? So it's going to be 20 payments. 20 payments of how much? Now be careful, I doubled the number of periods, right? Because semi-annual. But what's going to happen to the interest rate? It's 7% a year, you guys, and you're paying twice a year. What do you think it is? I think it's 3.5. You got it. That's exactly it. 3.5%, right? Paid. 3.5% of what? Every 6 months. 3.5% of what? The 200,000 face amount. So how much is the interest going to be? 7,000 of cash interest. Everybody got it? 7,000 of cash interest. Everybody good? How many times? 10. How much is that? Whoops, 20. Sorry. 7,000 times 20. How much is that? 140,000, right? This is going to pay 140,000 of interest plus the 200 of principal, right? It's going to pay off $340,000 if you buy it the first day of the bond. You got it? And if you issue the bond, borrow the money, you have to pay that much. Okay? Got the idea? No matter what somebody pays for the bond. And then we'll determine how much the bond is worth right now. And the interest is going to be the difference between the $340,000 that's going to be paid. 7,000 times 20 is 140,000 total interest. Okay? Plus the 200,000 face amount. 340,000 is going to be paid back. Okay, now why would it be sold for an amount different than the 200,000 face amount? Because the market interest rate is more or less than 7%. And you're selling this out in a competitive market, right? Everybody got it? And oh, by the way, we don't print new bonds every time somebody trades a bond. You buy the bond for whatever it's selling for right now, right? And then you want to sell it to her. The company's not involved that issued the bond. They're going to pay whoever holds the bond, right? Whoever's the registered owner of the bond. We'll give you the interest as long as you hold it, but if you sell it to her, we'll give her the interest. It's fine. We don't care. Are we going to print up new bonds and issue them because he wants to sell it to her? What for? Why would we do that? We have no interest in that. We're going to pay the interest and pay the principal and be done with it. So in the market, what happens? The two of you are going to agree what you're going to trade the bond at, right? So there'll be a discount or premium between the two of you too. Oh, so you have a gain or loss on the bonds. If you buy it and it goes up in value and you sell it to her, guess what? You have a profit plus the interest. What if you buy it and it goes down in value and you sell it to her? You have a loss netted with the interest you received, right? That's it. So you make money on the bonds by what? Earning the interest, right? And gain or loss on the change in market value. Okay? So like with stocks, you have dividends plus the gain or loss on the market value, right? Change the market value. That's it. Okay, so good. Anyway, but do you understand why you wouldn't print new ones? It's out there a long time. It's being traded from person to person to person to person on a 10-year bond. How many times might it be sold? Oh my gosh. So you're not going to print new ones every time. What for? Okay? I suppose now with computers we could do that, sort of, right? Still with no motivation. Why would we do that? Okay? And this is not a big deal. Not a big deal, okay? There's one other piece of information we need. What's that? Those of you read the chart. I need to know what the face amount is. I need to know what the stated interest rate is. I need to know how often it pays interest. I need to know what the term of the thing is, right? And I need an effective or yield or market rate. Effective. I know you just took a test and you're working in your other classes and it's really hard to stay fired up and keep going. If you know how to do this, you are going to get a much higher grade than if you don't. Trust me. And also, little thing, when you go to work, you'll be valuable versus not. Not because you can do bonds. Everything's valued this way, guys. If I was going to hire you, I would take the discounted present value of the future cash flow that you're going to give me, and that's how I decide how much I'm going to pay you. If I'm going to buy an airplane, I do exactly that. If I'm going to buy a truck, I do that. No kidding. Okay? Not with your personal decisions, right? But with your business ones, absolutely. On your personal ones, my wife buys cars because she looks cute in them. And I let her do that because she's cute, and I don't want her to leave me or beat me up. Either one. Okay, so now it is going to be, I've convinced her that instead of a Volvo, which costs 45 grand or something for this thing, if she wanted, an SUV type Volvo type thing, she might get a Subaru. There's one parked down there. It's a Subaru Outback. See quite a bit of them now. They're better looking than they used to be, and they're outstanding vehicles. And it costs $15,000 price. Well, maybe 10. Well, what's that? I really love that, and if it was me, that's exactly what I'd have. Actually, the new Honda Civic that's really cool. It gets high mileage and has incredible power with a little tiny engine. I'm trying to talk her into that. She looked cute in it, it's not big enough for our grandkids. So, the Outback's big enough for grandkids. Besides, I can drive around in the dirt all the time like I do with her Volvo, on gravel roads with sand and stuff. So she says, well, maybe I should get it. So we'll see. Okay, effective yield or market. What this is what the market thinks your risk level justifies, right, for an interest rate. So here's the deal. Let's do two different ones, A and B, okay? Let's say the effective interest rate is more than the 9%, okay? Or, I'm sorry, more than the 7%, more than the 7%. So let's say our effective rate is 8%. How many people want this bond? It pays 7, and for the risk level of the company, you should receive 8. How many people want to buy that bond? Nobody. But if I want to issue the bond, what do I have to do? Lower its price to the point where they make 80%. Okay, if you pay less than the face amount of something, you go to the grocery store and you pay less than the list price for it, right? What do they call that? A discount. This is a discount. That's all a discount is you pay less than the face amount. Got it? It's true, isn't it? That's a discount. Okay? What though if the market says it should pay 6% and it's paying 7%?
Is this percent fixed value percent of 200,000?
No, it's not going to be of the 200,000. It's of the interest and the principal the whole time. This is how much the market thinks you should earn for this investment. And we're going to discount both the face amount and the interest, both. And we're going to add it together, and that's how much the bond's worth. Okay? Did that kind of answer that?
Yeah.
When we calculate it, it'll make a little more sense. Okay, so yeah, so what if it's 6%? The market says you should only earn 6 and the bond pays 7. How many people in the world want that bond? Everybody. And we're going to bid on it. Guess what they do? They bid the price up until it only pays 6. Right? Only 7, not over 6. You're in the market rate is what happens. The market works really fast. Right? Thousands and thousands of people. Right? You know, it's probably buying and selling worldwide. Buying and selling these things. Got the idea? Okay? It's been traded all the time. Right? Even as we speak, bond prices are changing. Right? Okay? Just like stock prices are. So you can play in the bond market just like the stock market. A lot of people say the bond market is less risky. It is. It also earns less. Right? Bond market over time, well, it depends on what kind of bond you're in, right? How risky it is. You can invest in 30-year treasury bonds and earn 2.7% right now for 30 years. Now, it's not very good. What if inflation is 2%, you earn 2.7, right? It's not very good. Now, even if it's 1%, you're not doing very well. But there's no risk. It's government bonds, right? The government's going to pay you. You get the interest and the principal. Or you can invest in UPS bonds. And you'll probably earn, I don't know, 4% maybe right now, I guess. Okay? Because they're low risk. Or you can invest in some company you've never heard of. It's just issuing their bonds. Or some government that's bankrupt. You can invest in Detroit's bonds right now, right? And you're going to earn a really nice interest rate. But what's the deal? You might not get paid. Got it? There's risk. What does risk mean? Risk of losing your money. Risk of not getting the interest in the first place, and then also risk of what? Not getting paid back the principal. So it's just like the stock market, right? Some things are riskier, some things are less risky. The more risky ones demand more return, right? Less risky ones can demand less return because more people want that investment, right? We're competing for it. Okay, good. Anyway, so let's value this. Let's value it at the 8%. Let's start with that one, okay? So this is going to be really simple, you guys. We're saying the effective, oh, by the way, effective yield and market mean exactly the same thing. It's what the market wants. The effective rate, yield rate, okay, market rate. Okay, so we're going to have 8%, which means if it's 8%, that's 8% per what? Year. And what is this, semi-annual, guys? Right? So what will that semi-annual do to us? 4% per 6 months, right? Got it? What will this one be? 3% per 6 months. Notice we doubled the number of payments, right? Because there's 2 per year, 10 years, 20 payments. And we cut the interest rate in half, right? Okay. What's the stated interest rate, the amount of cash that's going to be paid? What's the effective or yield or market rate? The rate we're going to actually pay. Okay. Now, oh, in the book when you read it, they have a straight line method, right? You can ignore that. Nobody uses straight line. They put it in there because it's easier, and a lot of people that teach principles of accounting want the class to be easy, I guess, instead of real. I don't know, right? Can you guys actually discount things now after chapter before this one? Yeah. Do you think you can now use the fact that you're discounting at the value of a bond? Do you think you could then maybe amortize the discount? That's what they're asking you to do here, or amortize the premium? Sure. This is called the effective interest method. We want to reflect in the financial statements what the interest expense really was, or interest revenue on the other side of the deal. Okay? That's all we're doing here. Okay? And we want to reflect what we really owe people. And a straight line wouldn't really do that for you. Okay? So let's give this a shot. Okay? So 8%, if the market or effective or yield rate is 8%, what are we going to use for discounting? 4%. Because it's semi-annual, right? We're going to use 4%. Okay, so let's value this thing. What does this bond pay off at the end? Think about what's going to be paid at the end of the 20 periods, the end of the 10 years. What's going to be paid off? I have a future value of a sum, 20 periods from now, end of 10 years, 20 semi-annual periods. What's it going to be? A $200,000 bond, you guys. What's going to be paid at the end? $200,000. It's that simple. If I want to value this bond, what do I need to do? I need to find out what the bond is worth when. How about right now? Present value. No kidding. Okay? That's it. I am going to calculate the present value of a sum. What's the interest rate that I'm going to use for discount? What's the number of periods I'm discounting it for? 10-year semi-annual, what is it? 20. 20 periods. That's all there is to it, just now.
On the other side of the screen, when you go 140, INT, what is that? It's the interest payment.
Oh, 140,000 interest payment. Yeah, thank you. Cash interest. It's going to be 7,000. You see why it's 7,000 every time? Okay, it's 3.5%. 7% a year would be 14, half of that, right? 7,000. So it's 7,000, and there's 20 payments. So the total interest, right, is 140. That's what that is. Okay, we're going to value that too. So we're valuing what's going to be paid off in this bond is the 200,000 at the end, right? Plus 140,000 of interest. It's 340,000 cash that we're valuing right now. That's all it is. Okay. By the way, each interest payment that goes by, there's a different amount of cash that's valued, right? Because an interest payment was made, so it'd be 7,000 less each time, wouldn't it? Right? If you bought it in later years. We'll do that in intermediate account. Okay. All right. So what do we do here? Discount it. 1 over 1.04 raised to the 20th, huh? What are we saying? N is 20. Interest rate is 4%. You can go look up the factor for that, couldn't you? What's 1 over 1.04 raised to the 20th? Well, you look at the factor for 4%, 20 periods. What factor do you get? What are each one of those dollars worth? If you're going to receive 20 periods from now, just kind of 4. What are they?
0.45631.
45631.
9.
Okay. What's worth 46 cents? $1 received 20 periods from now, discounted at 4% per period. You already know how to do that, don't you? Right? That's all this is. So if each dollar's worth that, what's the whole 200,000 worth? Take 200,000 times that number, right, guys? We've done this already.
691,278.
So it's worth $91,278. Got it? But that's not all you get. You don't just get the face amount. What else do you get? The interest. And what's the interest? It's the same amount every period, and we assume interest rate doesn't change. If you're going to guess what the interest rates would be tomorrow, what would be your best guess? This is tough. Are interest rates going to go up or go down tomorrow? Most people think the interest rates are going to go up, but they've been thinking that a long time, and they haven't been going up. They've actually gone down a little over time. So people who bet that they were going to go up, that's wrong. They could still go down a little bit. There's not much room, but they could go down a little bit, right? So we still placing bets. So what's going to be tomorrow's interest rate? What's your best guess of tomorrow's interest rate, probably? Today's. How about the day after that? Same. Day after that, same. You don't know if it's going to go up or down. So what we do is we assume it stays the same, and it's constant. So what does that make it? The interest rate doesn't change, and the payment's always the same. What do you got? It's an annuity. This is an ordinary annuity because the interest gets paid at the end of the year. That's it. So what I've got is an ordinary annuity payment, which is the interest, you guys. How much? What's the interest every time? 7,000 times 20 is the 140,000 we are valuing, right? So I want the present value of that too at time 0, okay? And then I'm going to add that to the present value of the principal, huh? So what's the present value of the interest going to be? That 140,000 of interest payments. 7,000 times what? Give me an annuity factor, right? This is the present value of an ordinary annuity, right? Where the number of periods is 20 and the interest rate is 4%. We obviously could take 7,000 and discount it for 1 period and then 7 for 2 and 7 for 3, up to 7 for 20 and add them all together, but we're not crazy people, so we won't do that, right? We'll use an annuity table or we'll use a calculator that'll do annuities for us. And that's what the calculator does. What is the factor for?
It's 13.59.
What's worth $13.59? 20 bucks. Received $1 at the end of each period for 20 periods, all discounted at 4%. How much interest would you earn on the 20 bucks? I guess $6.41. So, right? We already did that stuff last chapter, didn't we?
Can we talk about that? I'm looking at the table and I'm seeing 2.5887. Oh, we have it.
This should be closer to 20 than that. What table are you on? Future value of a sum, maybe there?
Oh, I'm looking at present value of annuity.
Present value of an 2?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at for a period of 20%, not 20%.
Whoa, okay, that would make sense. Yeah, 20% is huge interest, right? 4%'s real small. There you go. Okay, so that's all right. So I would think it'd have to be a bigger number, right? Because it's only 4% interest. Yeah, even though it's 20 periods. Okay, but it's still a lot of interest, isn't it? But at 4%, if you use a higher interest rate, that's going to be a little tiny number. Yeah. So you got it now?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, good. All right, so 7,000 times 13.59033, right? Because we don't get $1 20 times, we get 7,000 times, right? We invest in this thing. Or if we borrow the money, that's what we have to pay. So how much is that for the interest?
95,132.30.
So a little round, okay? All right, in real life, of course, you don't. Right, millions of dollars. All right, it's a big bond. So what do we do here? Add them up. This is what the principal's worth. This is what the interest is worth. Add the two together. It's what the bond's worth. How much is it? Are you surprised that that's less than the face amount of 200? I'm not. Why not? The market wants to earn 8 and it only pays 7. So here's the deal. If you pay 186,410 for this bond, if you invest that much, what will you earn, everybody? How much interest will you get? How much are they going to pay you back? 140 of interest plus 200 of face value. What are they going to pay you back? 340,000. So you're going to receive 340,000. Everybody agree with that? If I invest 186,410 and I get back 340, how much interest did I get? Really? How much is that? Come on, you guys. Probably looking at 153.59. That's the interest. Yeah. You borrow 186,410, you get 340 back. What I was going to say is probably going to be 25 points in the final, 25 points on the exam. We're up to 50. I don't know how much on a quiz, half a quiz. 15. Got it? 60 points maybe. 10% of your grade. You know how to do one problem. Big deal. There's a lot in this, though. A lot of things we've been covering. Okay? Oh, and these chapters that we have left are pretty much almost exclusively learn how to do one thing. But it's more complex things, which is one thing. Fit it in with everything else you know. How many points can you get out of this thing? What can you do to your grade? So you guys are kind of flat today. I know it's Monday and we just had a test. Get yourself back into it. When I see you next, you need to be really focused. So you're working on this stuff. Yes?
So it's a 186,410. Is that the market value of the bond?
You got it. That's the market value of the bond. That's how much the bond is going to be issued. Exactly right. That's it. If I buy this bond, if I want to buy it, that's what I have to pay. If I want to issue it, that's how much I get to borrow. That's it. Perfect. Right? So we can determine what the bond's worth. Now, by the way, the bond will be worth a different amount tomorrow. Why? Interest rates will change. Got it? Slightly different, right? So anytime the interest rate changes, the value changes. Great question. Yes.
Okay, so we'll pay the 186,000, and then we'll like essentially get 340,000 back total.
Yeah.
But our net income or whatever is 153.
You got it.
Okay.
That'll be our interest revenue if we loan the money, right? If we buy the bond, invest in it. It'll be our interest expense if we borrow the money, issue the bond. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Why is the face value higher? Like, why don't we pay the face value?
Great question. Why is the 200 more than the 186? Because the 200 assumed the market only wanted to earn 7%. That's what you guessed. Remember, you put these bonds together 6 months before you issue it. You print all of them up, right? And you tell people we're going to have $100 million of bonds, and they're going to pay 7%. The market's going to decide how much you're really going to pay. Does that make sense? So you have them all printed up, and you issue them, and the market decides whether you should earn 7 or less than 7 or more. And this is how we do it instead of reprinting the bonds. Because again, there's thousands of these bonds. You don't want to be reprinting them all the time. Does that make sense? So it seems like, oh, wow, this is really crazy. But remember, he might buy the bond, and then 2 days later sell it to you, and then 3 days later you sell it to him. You got the idea? Or months later or whatever. We can trade them back and forth. Does the company care if you guys are trading the bond? Not the least. They're going to print it once, and they're going to issue it, and they are going to pay out $200,000 of principal at the end of the term, and $7,000 of interest every 6 months for 26-month periods. They're going to pay that $340,000 out to whoever is holding the bond. They don't even care who that is, do they? They got their money, right, and they're using it. That makes sense? Now they have to pay the interest and principal. And by the way, I know the interest looks like it's only $140,000, but the point of saying that $153,590 is no, it's not. The interest is the difference between how much you borrowed, which is going to be $186,410, right? And how much you paid back, which is going to be $340,000. Everybody see it? Once you see that, this is not such a big deal. Does that do it? Okay, good questions, guys. That's right. Okay, so let's do this then. Let's record this bond. That's what it's worth. Oh, first, I guess let's calculate the other one. Yeah, let's do that first. Let me get a another page here. There's some room to work, I guess. What are you doing, machine? Don't stop on me again. Something wrong in the other class, too. But uh-oh. I think I just lost my thought. Oh, jeez. You. Man, what is it back there again? Under there? No? Okay, how much was the bond? Let's just go ahead and do the discount. What's that? 200,000 face. Okay.
Let's say you're at 7%.
7%. Stated. Semi-annual. 10-year. So that's 20 periods, right? Okay. All right, guys. So it's going to be 3.5%, which is $7,000. And then 10 years is 20 periods, right? Okay, and then the A was, what did I use for the interest rate? 8%. Are you surprised he gave us a discount? Not really, right? Because the market wants to earn more. Okay. B, we said what, 6%?
Yeah.
Let's value it at 6. Let's do that real quick. Okay, what would that be? It's the same calculations, you guys, just a different discount rate, huh? So I've got a future value, 20 periods from now, of 200,000, face amount of the bond. And I've got an ordinary annuity payment. How much is that? 7,000. And it's for 20 times, right? That's that 140,000. Okay? So now what you want is N equals 20 still, but now the interest rate is what that we're going to use. This one was 4% semi-annual, right? What's this one going to be semi-annual? 3%. Everybody got it? Okay? So what's the factor? 20 periods, 3% for the sum. 1 over 1.03 raised to the 20. What's that factor? This should be getting to be automatic for you by now. How much is it?
0.553.
And that was more than the other one, huh? Yes, lower interest rate. Okay? So what's 200,000 times 0.556? 368.
110,736.
Excellent. Okay? What's the next one? This is an annuity factor, right? Still in 20 I3, right? But it's now the present value of an ordinary annuity. It's 20 factors added together, isn't it? How much is that?
14.87747.
What's worth 15 bucks? 20 bucks, right? Received spread out over the next 20 periods. All discounted at 3% per period. Got it. So how much is the whole 140,000 of interest worth? 7 times 14.87 forever, right? What is that?
104,142.
14142?
Yes.
So if this is what the principal is worth and that's what the interest is worth, what's the whole bond worth? Add the two together. That's it. How much is that?
214,878.
Now, why is that more than 200? Because it is selling at a premium instead of a discount, isn't it? Why is it selling at a premium? Because the market only thinks they should earn 6. Your risk level, 6. It's not that people voluntarily take less interest. They just get interest based on your risk level. Because you guys are going to compete, right, to buy the bond. You're going to bid on it, and you'll keep bidding more until it doesn't earn 7 anymore. Now only earns 6. Got it? Okay, so you can go either way. All right, let's value the bond, or let's record the bond using the 4% discount rate. This is B. So A that we had before, how much was that? When we had the discount, how much was it?
Like the total?
Yeah.
186.
And that was using 4% interest. This one's using 3% interest, right? Discount.
100.
Okay, all right. Probably come to you when we try to value this thing. All right, I'm terrified to do anything with this, so I'm just going to go down the page. Okay, so let's remember 186,410, and let's remember that we're going to discount. We discounted it at what, guys? 4%, right? And remember the payment is $7,000. So let's record this bond now, okay? And we're going to record it on both sides. Let's record it for the lender, who is also the buyer, who is also the investor, all the same person. I invest my money, I buy the bond, right? And I lend the money to the people that I bought the bond from. On the other side, you're the borrower. You borrowed the money. You're the seller of the bond, and you are the issuer of the bond. Make sense? All the same people. So just business terminology here. Let's start on the first day. I won't give you any other days because then you have to worry about accruing interest in between bond periods, right? And you have to worry about that they got rid of interest payments, so you calculate the present value differently if there are fewer payments coming. So let's just assume this is the first day. So this is January 1st, year 1, say, okay? What do we want to record? This is simple. Let's do the one where it was a discount, the 186,410. This is going to have a discount. The other one would have a premium, right? Discount is where you pay less than the face amount, right? Less than the list price. Premium is where you pay more. Right? You guys know that already. So let's record this thing. If I borrow the money, how much am I going to get? If the bond is worth $186,410, how much are they going to give me when I borrow the money? How about 186,410? You just calculated it. I'm not kidding. That's all there is to it. I will receive cash of 186,410. What will happen to the people who whoops, put it on the wrong side, didn't I? The lender, buyer, investor, sorry. If I issue the bond, I borrow the money, I'll debit cash for the 186,410. Make sense? How about the investor? How much cash will they pay out, obviously? 186,410. This is too easy to believe in. Okay? I valued the bond, and that's how much they exchanged, huh? Okay. How are we going to record it if I'm an investor? I am going, instead of calling it bond receivable, don't do that. We don't call it bond receivable. Kind of is a bond receivable. We don't call it that. We call it an investment in held-to-maturity bonds, if I'm going to hold it for the full term of the bond. If I'm going to hold it for a shorter period of time, I would call it an investment in trading securities or available for sale short-term or long-term. You don't have to know that yet. We have another chapter where we're going to do that. Okay? So I'm going to not hold it to maturity. Because you can invest in the bonds for a few days, few years, whatever, right? Or you can invest for the whole time. If you intend to hold it to maturity, in this case for the whole 20 periods, 10 years, right? We would call it investment in held-to-maturity bonds. Okay? Then, of course, that's 186,410. Okay, now here, notice that my debit, that's the debit, notice my debit to the investment is exactly the same as my credit to cash, just by convention. There's still a discount there, though, because this is going to be a $200,000 bond, isn't it? It's going to pay out $200,000 at the end, okay? Now, on the other side, what do? By convention, we credit bonds payable. But we do it for the full face amount. Okay? And what's the difference? That's the amount of the $200,000 bond we only paid $410 for. What's the deal? That is a discount on bonds payable. Oh, that's a discount. How much is it? $13,590. You know what that's going to be? Well, what kind of account is that? The amount we borrowed was really 186,410, right? What's 200,000 less 13,590? 186,410. It's the carrying amount of the bond. Ah, it's a liability account. It's a liability account with a debit balance in it. What do you call those things? Contra liability. Just like equipment and accumulated depreciation, accounts receivable and allowance for doubtful accounts, same deal. Okay? So what I've got is a bond of 200 less the discount of 13,590 is the carrying amount of 186,410. Got it? So we got it made now, huh? Got the thing recorded, okay? So then what will we do? Every 6 months there's going to be interest, isn't there? Interest is going to get paid. So let's try that. What's going to be, now this is the lender, remember, the investor. This is the borrower, the issuer, okay? What's going to happen at June 30th, which is 6 months later? Every 6 months we're going to have interest, right? What's going to happen, everybody? Who's going to get interest? Probably the lender or the investor, don't you think? Debit cash. How much are they going to receive? What's the interest every 6 months? Cash interest. How much is it? 7,000. Well, you guys are really flat today. Okay. How much interest, how much cash is the borrower going to have to pay out? You know, if the investor gets 7, how much did the borrower pay out? 7. Good. Okay. Why are we paying out interest? Because we are incurring what? We borrowed money and we're incurring what, everybody? Interest what? Expense. Why are we receiving cash? Because we earned on the other side of the deal. Interest revenue. That's it. All we're going to do is know how much. And then what we're going to do is we're going to amortize the discount or premium, in this case, discount. Okay? It's additional interest, right? We are going to pay the $140,000 interest plus the $13,590. That was the $153,590 that we calculated out of interest. It's additional interest, right? Okay, that's all it is. And we're going to spread it out over the term of the loan, okay? Over the term of the bond. All right, so how much interest? That's the trick. What's the carrying value of the bond? Investment in held-to-maturity bonds. How much is it? What do we have? 186,410. What is it over here? I have a bond payable of 100,000, 200,000, I'm sorry. And I have discounted bonds payable of how much? 13,590. What's the difference between those two numbers? It's 186,410, right? That's our carrying value of the bond. So both ways, it's the same value on both sides, isn't it? So how do you calculate your interest? Take 186,410, the carrying value, times what? What do we discount at, everybody? What rate did you discount at? 4%, right? So take it times 4% to unravel the deal. How much is that? 4% times 186,410.
7,456.
Guess what the interest revenue is? 7,456. Guess what the interest expense is on the other side? 7,456. And what do I need to amortize? I need to get my investment up to the 200,000 by the end. The discount's built in that investment account. So I'm going to debit investment in held-to-maturity bonds. For how much? I guess the difference, 456. And I will add 456 to the investment and do it again next time. But now I have more investment. What will happen on the other side? I'm going to credit what? Discount on bonds payable for 456. And the 456 goes here. I'll get a new value, and guess what? The value will be the same on both sides, and I do it again, and I just keep going. After I've done that 20 times, what will be left in the discount account? 0. You'll have a $200,000 bond. That's how much is paid at the end. What will be left in the investment held to maturity bonds? 200,000. That's how much will get paid. I have a real suggestion for you folks. Go read this chapter so you know what the hell I'm talking about. It took much longer with you guys than it did with the other class. I didn't get through it all. How come? You didn't read the chapter. You're just sitting at me looking at me like, oh my gosh, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Keith. I don't remember debit and credit means right. Gone. Come on, you guys. Get working again. We don't have very much time left, but we have lots of points left, don't we? So, crank on it, okay?